Pedro from A&P-Reacts. I'm here today with the mighty Blothar of GWAR to talk about their latest slab of raw meat, the new Dark Ages, out June 3rd on Pit Records. How are you doing today?
I am absolutely miserable.
All right, that's a great way to start our conversation. So the first question that I have for you is, do you find that perhaps there is a way for humanity out of these new Dark Ages?
I don't know. Let me think about that here in my room with beautiful orange drapes. Is there a way? You'd be surprised at how beautiful the Antarctic fortress is when you have someone nice to gussy it up. Yes, I do think that we are in a new dark age. I think that humans have, despite their interests in technology, managed to turn the clock back and re-embrace the barbarism of the past. So it was an easy record to write because all you have to do is look around and see, wow, look at these people. They're telling the same stories to themselves that they've been telling for 400, 500 years.
When you look at humanity around you and the experience that you've had with all of us, does it still surprise you how moronic we all are?
Well, I mean, no, it doesn't. We've come to expect it out of humanity, and it's our own fault. I mean, if we hadn't have had sex with apes, then you never would have been around. But unfortunately, we made the mistake. So yeah, I mean, humans never fail to disappoint.
In your adventures into the Duoverse, what was the most fascinating discovery?
Well, one of the most fascinating discoveries was that I gained a new power as the Berserker Blothar, which was the power to transform into a new physical state, to actually transform into not just to lose my mind and be berserk in battle, but actually to become a bigger, crazier, more evil monster. So that was very exciting.
Is that a power that you're going to relish as soon as you have an opportunity to use it?
Yeah, essentially in the Duoverse, in this other version of GWAR, which they're a country band, by the way. Yeah, they play country music. This that version of GWAR, I was able to take that back with me. This power that the other Blothar had. So yeah, I'm going to relish it. Love it.
Outside of that new discovery, in terms of the adventures that you had in the Duoverse, which one was the one that is going to stay with you for a very long time?
Well, I think that the experience of watching all of the major capitals of the world, all of the big symbolic buildings and edifices and structures, watching those piled into a heap and discarded, that was pretty fun. So really just, getting to run around and tear things up, it was a blast. And, we like to fight. War likes a good fight. So, pitting ourselves against another version of ourselves. I mean, what a worthy opponent.
The fact that the other version of yourselves is a country band, did that surprise you in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but then when you think about it, I mean, country music is certainly, I mean, people make fun of it, but I mean, heavy metal at this point is completely bloodless and stupid. I mean, why listen to the bands that are coming out? I mean, why wouldn't you play country music? It's got a lot more guts,
a lot more soul.
Yeah.
A lot more soul. Now, one of the interesting discoveries, or one of the new interesting additions in this Duoverse, was the cutter. I thought that was a really interesting pop that happened on this record. How was that relationship, and how has that relationship evolved?
Well, the cutter is it's a young girl who eventually, she was into cutting herself, and then she eventually discovered, you know what, why am I doing this when I could take this knife and just slash up all the people who are causing me emotional stress and trauma. And that's basically what she does. So she becomes a sort of tiny little superhero. And we wanted to tell that story because it's a good story. You know, it's somebody that we knew. She was a neighbor of mine, actually, a neighbor kid. And I said, you know what? You've got the right stuff, little girl. So we wrote a song about her called The Cutter.
Now, will we ever see the Cutter making an appearance at a live GWAR show in the future?
Possibly, yes. I mean, certainly on video, she's gonna make an appearance. But yeah, I mean, we would probably do that character upright and bring her out.
And the same could be said about the Berserker mode. Are we going to see that as part of what GWAR's live experience is for fans that attend one of the shows?
You know it. You've guessed correctly. I mean, not the tour that we're coming up, that we're getting ready to do, is at least that first U.S. leg of it is a wrestling show. So we're going to be doing some professional wrestling with some figures from world leaders. But when we do the touring for the album, that's when you're going to see this new stuff. And that's when, yes, as a matter of fact, I don't want to give anything away, but
no. You want to keep everybody guessing.
Blothar's berserking power will really come to light during that performance.
As far as the sound on this record, I felt like it had a little bit more of a heavy consistency to it from start to finish. What do you attribute that quality as far as this album is concerned?
Well, I mean, it was a different record to write because sort of, at least half of it was written back in 2019. And then sort of waited 2 years to write the rest of it, or at least a year. So it was, and it was also written in a different way, right? Like a lot of the songs, and you can kind of tell this if you listen to it, a song like Completely Fucked, a song like Venom of the Platypus, Rise Again. Those are songs that came out of improvisation and playing together as a band. But songs like Cutter, Berserker Mode, certainly what is the Starving Gods, that stuff that was more of things that we put together separately in a studio, like writing the song out and then learning it. So there's a different feel to some of the songs, which I think actually works really well. And we got lucky that way because I was very worried about it. It's not, I'm not used to writing music that way. But it really worked out well. And I think that, we were thinking to ourselves, we're not worried about what fans think of the record. And that sounds, it's funny because on social media, there was this fan that said, that should be the only thing you're worried about. It's like, no, it's not. We don't give a shit what you think. We hope you like it. But that way madness lies. If you sit around and think, what is it that people want us to do and how can we do it? That's not a way to make a record. If you're doing that, then you might as well be, what do they call them? A legacy band, right? And that's not what GWAR is. GWAR is rooted in punk rock, rooted in heavy metal, and rooted in creativity and art. And we're going to keep doing what we do, and that makes us happy, that we want to hear and we want to listen to. And I think that's what keeps the music fresh. And this record, I think, we definitely pushed ourselves. We wanted to do something that had a feel. And like I said, a kind of a long-winded answer to your question, but it afforded us some time to look at the material. The fact that we had to write some of it at a distance, and to say, how can we make this as heavy as possible? So that might be one reason it's different.
I'll say this much about this record: the album stands out. And I know it's cliche to say that the latest record is the best record. I'm not going to say that, but I'm going to say this is one of the strongest albums you guys have released in a very long time. It's undeniable. The quality from start to finish. It was an album that really surprised me with the guitar sound. It felt very organic. It was a fun album to listen to. There's absolute a sense of fun and a sense of enjoyment when you listen to this record. So whatever the formula was, whatever journeys you guys went through, I think you perhaps found lightning in the bottle.
Well, I'm glad. I'm very glad, because we needed it. At least part of that is due, I will say, which is, it's very uncharacteristic of GWAR to give credit to anyone. But the producer, Ronan Chris Murphy, I mean, this is I think that working with somebody, we went into this and he described the project as, I want to make the kind of record that needs to be made right now, right? And I had been listening to, just GWAR and stuff like that. And these are good sounds. I mean, like these are really good producers doing good work with good musicians. But Ronan wanted to do something that was very raw and different sounding, so there's not a lot of processing on the guitars, or there's a shit ton of processing on the guitars. It's like, if you're going to do it, then do it, right? So for the most part, I mean, you're listening to cranked Marshalls, in a good room with some microphones, and it really comes out. It's got a lot of energy to it.
When it comes to your vocals, how did you develop your approach? An approach that many try to imitate, but nobody's been able to duplicate.
I don't know if people are trying to imitate me yet. Maybe I would like to think so, but I don't know. I mean, for me, it's about, at least some of it came out of learning Odoris's parts, right? Like going back and listening and trying to develop a voice that could at least approximate the sound or the emotion. Maybe not so much the sound, because I didn't want to do the same thing Odoris did, because then it would just be like a pale imitation, right? But doing my version of that voice, it was instructive, right? But on this record, and I think you hear that on Blood of Gods, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of sort of an adapted, the voice that I used to sing old GWAR songs that I didn't sing originally. On this record, there was more of, I'm going to find my own way. I'm going to do it, do it the Blothar way, and see how that works. And so that's a difference, right? I was able to, go ahead and sing a song like maybe not, less like Cutter. I mean, Cutter's more definitely high endier, but something like Ratcatcher. It's just give it a sort of Alice Cooper, very high, almost Queen feel in the choruses, which was a lot of fun.
I know how chaotic your shows are, because I've been at several. And you mentioned you guys going into the studio and having more of an organic vibe. How chaotic is that? How chaotic is GWAR in the studio?
Well, it's funny because you said that it sounded like we were having fun, which I'm glad that it does, but we were not having fun. Literally, I mean, part of it might be that the album, we were thinking about calling it gas-powered rock and roll, because what happened was that there was a snowstorm and the electricity went out. But we had paid for the studio and we were on a tight time frame. So literally almost every single basic track, and by that I mean the drums and the bass, were recorded using a generator, or more than one generator that was outside. We couldn't, as a matter of fact, that's why we couldn't keep the guitar tracks, is because you could hear the generator cycling in the tubes. So that was definitely weird. I mean, I think that there was some hardship that we were overcoming that makes it onto the record.
you guys have been around for so long. You guys have gone through so much. What do you feel makes the music timeless?
Well, I'm glad that people think that it's timeless. Certainly, it lacks timekeeping. I mean, that's what Blackie from Voivod told me years ago. Tuning, timing, and tempo. Your band lacks these. All right, Frenchie, whatever. But no, I mean, I think what makes it timeless is just that our heart is in it. You know, I mean, GWAR, we're not trying to, and we're utterly disinterested in trends. You know, I mean, and we have that ability, right? We've been doing it long enough that we have the luxury that we don't have to sit there and repeat ourselves on every record, right? We can sound how we want to sound, and it still sounds like GWAR. And you know, so that's, we don't have to make Back in Black 30 times, right? And we're lucky that way. So I think that GWAR taps into some sort of psychic need that people have, and that it's very visceral and cathartic. And as long as we translate that musically, then we're doing a good job.
One last thing for you, and it's not a question, but it's rather a remark. I want to thank you and the band for being the first band to tour in Canada, to come to Toronto to play a show last year.
Hey.
Speaking about being cathartic, that show, I don't like to use this term, religious experience, but it really felt like that. We hadn't had any shows here. You guys were the first guys to really cross the border, come here and play a show. So I just want to end this discussion with you today on that note and say thank you for doing that, not just for yourselves, but doing that for us. We really, the Toronto fans, we really needed it. That shot in the arm, no pun intended, as far as the vaccine is concerned, but that shot in the arm, we really needed it, and you guys gave us that, and I really, and on behalf of the Toronto fans, I want to say thank you.
Well, you are welcome in Toronto. We'll be back. You know we will. We can't stay away from Canada.
We love you guys here, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys again.
All right.
Take care, man. All the best.
All right. You too.